Hello, hello, hello. I am reading Little Red Moon and thought I'd read it with you guys, thinking that you'd like it. That is in the book title page. So I thought I'd read it with you guys, and you guys can tell me what you think, and if you like it and you don't want to wait for me to post anew, then you can buy it yourself. I got this at Chapters. Sorry, I thought. I got this at Chapters for $4.99 on their um, bargain deals table. It sounded good. So let's get started. Chapter 1. I was covered in blood when the police found me, head to toe, in my hair, on my eyelashes, in the skin between my toes, dried so deep into my clothes they were taken away and I never saw them again. I found flakes of it under my fingernails for days after, dried reddish-brown crumbs that I clung to as they fell free, that I held as if I could somehow pull them inside me, as if I could somehow bring my parents back. I didn't remember what happened to them. I didn't remember finding them. I didn't remember sitting down with their bodies. I didn't remember sitting with them as the night gleaming moon rose, arching across the sky, and the stars shone. I was with them all night in the forest. I didn't remember that either. I didn't remember being found. Ron said he'd found me after he'd gotten the call from Deputy Sharp, who was out patrolling the little section of forest where people live. Right, I come to find the deputy crying. And me. And me. I was just sitting there. But when I was in the hospital, I heard him tell Rennie that the first thing he thought I was dead too. That I wasn't moving, wasn't blinking. That I was sitting on the ground outside my home covered in blood. That I was sitting with my parents' bodies holding their hands in mine. That I tried to put what was left of them back together, that all the blood on me came from me trying to make them whole when they were broken. From me trying to put them back together. I couldn't do it. My parents were dead. They died and no one knew how or why. Just that it happened. They hadn't just died, though. My parents were murdered. Ron was sure I'd seen something. Heard something. I was in the hospital for 2 days after they found me, not because I was hurt, not because I wouldn't move. I wouldn't talk, wouldn't eat, and wouldn't speak. Everything inside me was dark, gone. It was like I was dead too, just like Ron had thought when he'd first seen me. But I wasn't dead. And Rennie made me leave the hospital for the funeral. She stood next to me, holding my hand while the wooden boxes that held my parents were put in the ground. The boxes were closed tight, but I didn't wonder if my parents were in there. I knew they were gone forever. I knew that because the one thing I did remember is what I saw when Ron put me in his car. Deputy Sharp was off sobbing softly in the distance, the sound coming to me like it was the wind, like noise and nothing more. I remember looking out Ron's window and hearing crying. I remembered seeing the colors of sirens cast shadows everywhere. I didn't hear the sirens, though. In the car I didn't hear anything but silence. I watched those colored shadows on the ground, and I watched them flicker off pieces of plastic sheeting. I remembered it looked strange to see them there, covering the soil and snaking around the trees my parents loved. I remembered the lumps under it. I remembered screaming then, screaming until my voice stopped. When I saw the boxes, I knew who was in them. I knew my parents were gone. I watched them begin being lowered into the ground. I saw soil start to cover them up. I stared at the trees. Greeny pressed into the dirt, tiny saplings that would one day grow tall and true, that would one day grow into trees like in the forest. I heard her whisper, "Why, John?" why. Her voice angry but sad, almost angry, but mostly angry, so angry as she did it, and then watched her stand up, brushing the soil off her hands. It felt free, easily, smoothly. I closed my eyes and saw dark red. I saw blood, and around that, through that, I saw silver, gleaming silver, a blur of something cruel, inhuman. Avery? Rennie said, and I opened my eyes. Saw the soil where my parents would lie forever. I didn't remember finding them. I didn't remember the last thing I said to them. It was all gone, and yet I was still here.
That's a pretty intriguing first chapter, if you ask me.
When I was saying Rennie, I should have been saying Renee. I realized that. So, all my Rennies are Renee. So, Avery is our main character. Her parents have been murdered by some mysterious murderer. Renee, we have no idea where she fits in. Ron is her friend. I'm take it. And then the sheriff is crying over these two people, so I take it the sheriff was a family friend. So, is it a sheriff or is it's a deputy? Deputy's like a sheriff. I don't know. So I don't know. Tell me what you think's gonna happen. If you read it, don't ruin it for me. In the description here, I don't want to give it away though, because it gives away pretty much the whole thing here. So I'm not gonna tell you. So yeah, we'll just read it. Apparently, it's like a mystery romance thing. Don't know how it's a romance unless she hooks up with Ron. So yeah, tell me what you think. Go buy it if you're interested, and I will read chapter 2 tomorrow. Alright, bye. Click here for chapter 2.